guys, welcome back to Janie's Hippie Art. It is November I believe the 8th. It's a Sunday. I believe it's the 8th. Not really sure, but it's Sunday. So today I'm going to make paper beads out of a pizza box, okay? So let me put you up on the tripod thing and we will go from there. I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, so I've already started to cut up some strips, okay? And my strips are going to be, this is the back side, so, of the box. My strips are going to be, I'm doing both 1/2 inch wide at the thick end and 3/4 inch wide at the thin end. So I have 2 different size strips I've started cutting up, okay? So this is the 1/2 inch wide and this is the 3/4 inch wide. When I roll cardboard packaging, the end that I start rolling at, I cut my corners out. So let me quickly go back a little bit. I've done it in other videos, but let me show you what we do to prepare the box, okay? So you basically cut your box up. All right. I don't care that that's ripped right there because it's not going to matter at the moment. I'm going to clean up all my edges, but what you want to do is you want to remove, and if the box gets a little bent up, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You want to cut to the inside. You basically want to cut away from this bend here. This, you can feel it. It's a raised bend. You basically want to remove that. You can do this with a rotary cutter or any kind of cutter you're comfortable with. Whatever will cut the food packaging. So you're basically just going to remove the ends or the sides of the boxes. You're going to cut away from you're going to cut alongside of the bend so that you don't have it in your finished piece. There's a little bit of it here. I get people to save me boxes. This is my son's favorite. This is his favorite frozen pizza right now. So, and he eats a lot of frozen pizza, so he works weird schedules. So I get a lot of this pizza box. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up that edge. Now, does it have to be a perfect straight line? No. I just eyeball it. If you want a perfect straight line, then do a perfect straight line. You know, do it if that's what you want. I have a box under my desk that I put my scraps in because I burn my scraps. Okay, so I've already done the back sides of these boxes, 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch, and this is how I do it. So we're going to start with the 1/2 inch. Okay, I take my ruler. And I start on one corner and I do the half marks. So just go down the ruler and I hit it 1/2 marks all the way down. Just go 1/2 marks. Okay, then I flip it completely around to where my marking's opposite of me. And now I start at this corner. This is how I do it. Is there another way to do it? Probably. Is there a better way to do it? Probably. But this is the way I do it. I've had no issues. And I just sit here and I just mark it 1/2 marks. Then I go up to the top here, away from me, and I go to this corner here, where it's not a 1/2 mark because I want to get rid of my wastage. There's going to be wastage on this sheet. So I go to the mark and down to the corner by me. And then I start alternating them. I pick up the mark here and I go down here. That way I get my lines. So I've got my white end here, my pointy end there. And then I will keep doing this back and forth. So now my pointy end is near me. My pointy end is down here by me, and then my dot is up here. So I just keep going back and forth until I get my long triangles. Until I get my long triangles. Just keep going. This does not have to be perfect. Does not have to be perfect, because it's not going to be perfect. This is just kind of a grid to go by when cutting. If you were comfortable using like a rotary tool or some sort of cutter like the ones with the handle on them that we used to use in school back in the old days, you know, the finger chopper offers. If you were comfortable of just marking the marks and just cutting opposite on and off, you could do that. Even if your ruler moves on you, it's okay. Just go back and redo your line. You need to erase that little bit of line. Nobody's going to see this underside anyways. It's going to be rolled up. So basically you're just going to keep doing that, okay? So we'll stop here. I'll come back and finish that later. On the other one, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. Same one, same one. Now I am going to have wastage at one end possibly, because I'm doing a wider bead. Flip it completely opposite. The end I just did is away from me. Now I'm going to mark it. If you mess up, it's not the end of the world. You just would have if you accidentally went 1/2 inch instead of 3/4 of an inch, you would just have yourself a slightly smaller bead. That's all. 3/4, 3/4. And again, I'm going to go from the corner and I'm going to start doing my lines. Now I notice when I go to cut these in a little bit, I notice that I'm slightly crooked right there. I think you can see it. I would probably just take my scissors and kind of clean it up when I go to cut it. So basically, again, I'm going to go back and forth. And draw my lines. Back and forth and draw my lines. All I'm going to do. So we'll pretend like that's already done. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Okay, so I started cutting up these. This is my 1/2 inch ones. This is my 3/4 one. So basically, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to cut my strips. Like I said, if you're very comfortable using rotary or case cutter, box opener, you could just do it that way. But I'm not comfortable doing that. I tend to get off my line, even if I hold a ruler up. I think it's because I have carpal tunnel in my hands, and gripping that rotary tool hurts. So, to me, it's just easy to do this. So, just sit there and cut them out. Does not have to be perfect. As you see, I missed a line there. It does not have to be perfect. I heard someone say when they not talking about paper beads, but they were making some other beads out of some plastic that they were melting. I heard the woman refer to it as organic. So yes, it's nice to make a perfect paper bead. It really is. They're really pretty when they're perfect. But if you really look at nature, no two leaves are the same. They look similar, but they're not the same, I don't believe. I mean, even, you know, branches are not perfectly the same. So I like that word, organic. So I'm not going to fret just because right here I cut to the side of that line a little bit. I like the organicness, if that's a word, of it not being a perfect bead. Okay, so you know what we're going to do. We're just going to cut them up. So I'll just finish that up later. I don't want this video to take forever. So these are ones that are done. Now, I was showing you guys that the corners. Okay, if you roll this without cutting the corners out a little bit, you just have to cut them out a little bit. You just nip the corners. If you roll it without nipping the corners, when you roll, you might have a pointy edge on the inside of the hole. You might have a piece, it might stick out a little bit. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let me see if I can show you. So, take for instance, this right here, okay? If I roll this, I really want to show it to you, so I really want this to happen. See, it's not perfect. I really want it to happen so I can show you what I'm talking about. Now, I roll this bead. I take this bead off. I don't know if you can see it, but right here, there's like a point. I don't want that point to happen. So that's why I take a second and I actually can straighten that up if I want. I cut those corners out. Just cut the corners out. Just cut the corners. Cut the corners off. There's a little more preparation in doing food packaging than just paper because of this. You know, if you were using a heavy cardstock paper, you might want to cut the corners too to help roll the bead. You can straighten up that edge. You just cut the corners off. And if you over exaggerate and cut too far over, for example, like say like that, it's going to be okay too, because you can always trim it down a little bit. Like I said, these don't have to be perfect. Here is 2 beads I've already rolled of the half inch. See, they are pretty by themselves. They're a little bit different because of the fact that this one was probably a little bit narrower as we went to the end, but that's that organic thing I'm talking about. Making them a little bit more organic. Gracie, don't do that. My dog's in here with me, and she's trying to bite at a fly. I'm in the old schoolhouse in Kentucky working right now. And the house is very old. This is an over 100-year-old house. And because nobody's lived in it for so long, because it's like almost 100, I'd say 130 to 150-year-old house. There's now that I'm in here and nobody's lived in the house for 2 years and it was left open, unlocked, doors open. I've had a little bit of trouble with wasps and a little bit of trouble with flies. And a friend of mine says it's because nobody's lived up here for a long time. So, all right, what we're going to do now is I need to find where I shoved my cutting board. But I don't know where I shoved it. All right, so I've got a piece of scrap cardboard here. What we're going to do here, in fact, it would be better if I did it here. These scrap wood samplers are wonderful to have in your art room. Get rid of the cardboard. All right, this is how you make. This is what you do to the food packaging so that when you're at the end, you don't have a bump. It's more flush to the roll. You just go in and you remove the slight edge of the. Oh, my phone's ringing. Just remove the slight edge. Oh. If you cut off extra, it's okay. And you just keep doing that. Just remove this slight edge. Like I said, if you move a little too much, it's okay. But you have a very thin, paper thin edge there. If the tips get cut off, it's okay. It's not going to mess up the bead. The more you do this, the more you get used to doing it. It's all okay. Just see now, about as wide as my fingernail almost. I've got a nice undercut there. I don't know what to call it, but you're just shaving away a little bit of the inside. That's what you're doing. I do this to every piece. That's why I say it takes a little more preparation to do the food packaging. Just a little more preparation. And you want to make sure that whether you use a case cutter or one of those razor blade things you can scrape the paint off of your when you're painting around windows, a paint scraper, you want to make sure it's a nice fresh new blade. I would not recommend using a straight edge blade. I don't want nobody to cut themselves. This is not for children to do. This is for adults. And you do this at your own risk. You don't have to do this. So if you were making, say you have a grandchild or your children or somebody, maybe the kid has a favorite cereal they eat every day, and you wanted to make paper beads with that grandchild or your child, with that child, I would not even worry about doing this step. I would skip this step if it's just for fun with a kid, and I would just do it. Just roll them and glue them. I would not do this step because I would not want a child to get hurt doing this. So I would not do this step with a child. I just wouldn't want a kid get hurt. So basically I just sit and do, and I try to prepare all my strips like ahead of time, like this, because this to me is not the fun part of doing the food packaging, is preparing them for rolling them. It's not the fun part. It's the boring part. Let me see if I can actually show you guys what we're doing here. Let me see if I cover this with, let me cover this with pencil so you can actually see, because it won't matter. Okay, so look, it's covered. I hope you can see that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up underneath and I'm slowly removing. Sometimes I don't even like that point. I removed where I colored it gray. Let me show you that again. I'll show you on a bigger one. Do we have a bigger one? Here's one of the 1/2 ones. I mean 3/4. So let's color this all in gray. And hopefully y'all can see that. Can you see that? It's all colored in gray. Now I'm going to take my blade and slightly press it and slightly remove. See? Slightly remove. So there's the gray and there's where I removed it. So it's not super hard. You get the hang of it. Yes, the first couple times you do it, you're going to be pressing too hard and you're just going to cut the tip off, because you have to figure out how to hold that blade at a slight angle just to shave away that inside layer of the cardboard. Sometimes I even can just press it down and see, but I've been able to at times just pull this piece away. But you just gotta, you'll figure it out. Like I said, if you cut the tip off, it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so we'll come back to these. Okay. Now you can roll them on whatever rolling tool you have. And yes, you have a mess afterwards. You can roll them on whatever rolling tool you have. This one got kind of, when I'm working with ones that I've cut up and I've drawn the line, the newsprint gets on my rolly stick. So I'll have to scrape that off later. But okay, now you get your glue. Now, sometimes I have trouble using the school glue for this part. Sometimes I have to go to using a tacky type glue. So Dollar General even has a decent tacky type glue. But you basically just roll the bead. You're going to get some bending. It's just going to happen. Sometimes it'll roll perfect. Sometimes you'll get some bending. It's just because it's food packaging. You do have to hold down this, the end of a minute longer, because it will want to pop up. Try not to roll tight. I'm a tight roller, so try not to roll tight. So that is the 3/4 inch bead length. That's a pretty length of a bead. And it really doesn't matter what size your interior hole is. I've made them where the hole is real big, and that way I can put like a jute, a burlap or jute type cord down inside of them. Oh, another 1/4 inch one. So I've made them on the bigger hole. You just roll your beads. I think some of the pizza boxes make some of the prettier beads. DiGiorno pizza boxes make really pretty beads. It has earthy colors, like these are earthy colors. I can see this bead mixed with, I can see these paper beads mixed with the green in these beads when I go to make a necklace. The green and the silver maybe. I can see them go along with that. Maybe even that crackle there, but if you can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's hard to see my end. There's my end, because there's no rage. I mean, if I run my finger on that, it's smooth, because I removed that inside layer. It's just smooth. I do like to do, one of my favorites is doing the food packaging. It is one of my favorite beads. It just takes a little bit more effort. It takes a little bit more time to prepare, and you do have to pay attention to how tight you're rolling, because if you roll too tight and you take it off the rolling tool, whatever you use, it can possibly spin undone. It'll, like, because you've got too much tension on the roll, that when you take it off of your tool, whatever tool you're using, it might spin off. You know, it might unravel. Spin out. I call it a spin out. I think these are some pretty beads. My favorite colors are purple and orange. But when it comes to paper beads, I tend to lean towards enjoying making more earthy colors. I don't know why that is, but I tend to enjoy making the earthy colors. You'll get quite a few beads out of food packaging too. I did last year I did some Mountain Dew boxes, and when I went to an event and I was demonstrating what I was doing, people were like, "Do you sell the beads? Do you sell the beads?" I'm like, Yes, I do. I couldn't. People were coming back a couple days later and were like, "Do you have any more of the Mountain Dew beads?" They were going nuts over the Mountain Dew beads. So, but that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make up beads. I will bring you guys back later when I've got them all made up, so I can show you the amount of beads and how they all look after they're made. So in a while, I'll bring you back after I roll up all the beads. That way you can see the different color combinations you get from something like a pizza box. Again, it's just a frozen pizza box. This is not even my son's favorite. I was wrong. It's just a frozen pizza box from Walmart. It's just a great value Rising Supreme Crust Pizza. So this is not even the one that my son loves. This is one we just had. So I think we ate it. Maybe somebody else ate it. I don't know. Alright, so I'll bring you back after I get the rest of this pizza box rolled up and show you guys how they all look. Okay, you guys, I got all of the beads finally rolled from that frozen pizza box. So let me turn you around and show them to you. They are not glazed. They are not finished. They are just rolled. I will probably dip them in the next day or two and get them all finished and stuff. So let me turn you around and show you the beads. This is the beads. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they pretty? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got quite a few. I got over 12 strings of them. So I just think they're really pretty. So that's what I ended up with. 2 different sizes. These are the 1/2 inch. And these are the 3/4 inch. And here they are together. 3/4, 1/2. So I think they came out really nice. I think food packaging, I think I said it before, I think food packaging is my favorite. So I've got these to still glaze. I like those Swiss Miss ones too. I tried to label them so that I know what they are. Because at first I did not do that, but then people started asking. So I try to label my beads so that when people ask, I'm like, oh yeah, that's made from Swiss Miss chocolate, or that's made from a frozen pizza box, and kind of thing. So, but that's it. Next, I'm going to probably do Cheerios or Sunkist. I'm not sure. I've got a box right there that I need to crush up. This is all from a project I'm working on, so ignore it. I don't know about other people. When I get projects going, I kind of go from a project to a project, and I have a couple going at one time. But I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to say like and subscribe. And remember, art is creative, so go out there and create some art. See you on the next video.